Welcome to the world of Gary the Gassy Grasshopper. One sunny morning, Gary the Gassy Grasshopper and Jim Bob the Frog were feeling extra strong. They had just discovered something new: protein shakes. "These shakes will make us stronger than ever," Gary said, holding up his bright green smoothie. Jim Bob happily sipped his protein shake too, imagining himself becoming a superhero frog with muscles like an ox. After finishing their shakes, they were both feeling full of energy and ready to try something they had never done before: yoga. "Yoga is supposed to make you strong and flexible," said Jim Bob. "Let's go to class and give it a try," Gary agreed, stretching his long grasshopper legs. "I'm ready. Let's see if yoga can make us even stronger." The two friends hopped over to the local yoga class. They walked in and saw all the other animals sitting on their mats, stretching and relaxing. There were squirrels, bunnies, and even a wise old owl getting ready to do some yoga poses. Gary and Jim Bob felt a little nervous but were determined to join in. Their yoga instructor, a friendly turtle named Miss Shelley, smiled at them. "Welcome, Gary and Jim Bob. We're just about to start. Grab a mat and let's begin." Gary and Jim Bob rolled out their mats and got ready. They had no idea what to expect, but they were excited to stretch and learn new moves. "All right," said Miss Shelley. "Let's start with downward dog." Gary and Jim Bob tried their best to bend over, sticking their bottoms in the air and stretching their legs. But as they bent down, something strange happened. Both of them let out huge farts at the exact same time. The other animals in the class turned and looked at them, eyes wide. Gary's face turned bright red. "Oops, sorry," he said, feeling embarrassed. Jim Bob couldn't stop giggling, but he was also a little embarrassed too. Miss Shelley smiled kindly. "No worries, Gary and Jim Bob. Let's try a different pose. How about tree pose?" Gary and Jim Bob tried to balance on one leg, lifting their arms up high like trees. But before they could even get steady, the whole class erupted into laughter. The squirrels giggled, the bunnies snickered, and even the wise old owl hooted with laughter. Gary and Jim Bob looked at each other, embarrassed, but also kinda laughing along with everyone. Okay, Gary said, trying to stay calm. "Let's try a new pose. We can do this." Miss Shelley, still smiling, said, "All right, let's try cat-cow pose. Get on all fours and alternate between arching and rounding your backs." Gary and Jim Bob tried their best to do the pose, but as they arched their backs up high, the entire class started laughing again, and Gary and Jim Bob could hardly contain themselves. "This is impossible," Gary said, giggling. "We're just too gassy for yoga." At that moment, all the animals in the class started to join in. The bunnies let out little toots, the squirrels' tiny puffs of air echoed, and even Miss Shelley the turtle gave a little giggle. Soon the whole yoga class was filled with farts and laughter. It was one big, happy, farting party. Finally, after trying several more poses, Gary and Jim Bob decided they had enough. Their bellies were still rumbling, and they could hardly stop laughing at the funny situation they had found themselves in. They rolled up their mats, still giggling. "Maybe yoga isn't for us after all," Jim Bob said, wiping away a tear from laughing. "Yeah," Gary agreed. "Maybe we're better off just jumping on a trampoline next time." As they left the yoga class, all the animals waved goodbye, still laughing and smiling. Gary and Jim Bob didn't mind. They had learned that it's okay to have a silly day and not be perfect at everything. And as they hopped home, they decided that next time they would stick to something a little less gassy. Maybe a nice walk in the park where they could still have fun without all the farting.